Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom.
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Bennett and Mike are sitting down to talk about the desert. There's a lot of deserts. There's a lot of different types of deserts, but we're going to talk about the desert and living in the desert because I was stationed in the desert. I keep saying the desert because, I don't think a lot of people understand that when you're in a 29 Palms home unit, you live in the Mojave Desert, and then they fly you to the Kuwaiti Desert, and then they fly you to the Iraqi Desert, and then you're in the desert, and then they fly you back to the Kuwaiti Desert, and then back to the Mojave Desert, where then you're home. What the fuck? You're just trading deserts, for Christ's sake. It's awful.
I would say that sounds awful. I mean, I have desert time too, but not living in that shit. Not like that. Not permanently. Not, you know what I mean? I have to drive home and go, hi, honey. We live in the fucking desert.
Oh, yeah. Your front yard's desert?
Yeah, there's no grass. It's just stones or fucking sand.
Just sand, yeah. I mean, you get used to it, and there's a certain beauty to it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But growing up in Michigan, surrounded by green, and then living in 29 Palms, that was a little bit of a culture shock.
That's some culture shock.
It was, yeah.
My grandma lived in Arizona for a bunch of years, so I used to go out and visit her, and that's how it was. Literally, there was cacti out in her front yard and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And just cactus every fucking where, and, it was freaking desert, bro.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Sonora Desert. That's kind of where she was at.
Yeah.
The big old saguaro cactuses and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, and that's the difference, too, is you got that over there out 29 Palms way. You've got the Joshua tree, which the biblical saying, right? Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not a theologian by any means, but the Joshua tree grows in two places, the gates of heaven and the gates of hell.
Right.
And the only other place that it grows is in the Holy Land. So what does that make? 29 Palms?
Yep.
Carry the one. Yeah, 29 Palms is hell. But, I mean, 29 Palms has its fun moments also. I mean, the desert in general, being that it is desolate, allows you to blow shit up, which is awesome.
Blow shit up everywhere.
Oh, dude, there's so many. If memory serves me correct, it's 493,000 square miles, but I might be wrong. Let's Google that shit. But 29 Palms is massive, and you can call for every type of ordnance short of a nuclear weapon. You know what I mean?
Well, they dropped that shit not that far from there.
Oh, yeah.
But over in Nevada.
Yeah, but that was a long time
it's all ago. But it's all kind of connected.
Yeah.
I mean, the one of the craziest deserts that I've ever been to was just landscape-wise. I mean, because I'm sure the Sahara, which is, sand like a mofraki, right? Yeah. But what is the place in New Mexico? White Sands.
Oh, yeah. That
place is fucking cool. I mean, it's not like I want to hang out there and live there, but it was cool to visit it on the way through. Just really, really neat with actual sand dunes and stuff like that.
See this? Okay, we need to make something super, super clear that folks don't necessarily understand. Because there's some people who are like, dude, bro, the desert's awesome. I go out there dune buggying, dirt biking and stuff. And you do what? You stay in a tent? You stay in an RV, right? No, not this guy.
Right.
Not this guy. Not even fucking shelter half. Okay? It was you're in the desert, so it does drop down and get cold. So you climb inside of a sleeping system or a ranger roll or something like that, but you're out in the elements still. So let's say for instance, you go to bed and the wind kicks up in the middle of the night, right? I mean, you're just filled with dust all the goddamn time. You can't escape it, or if you're out on a field op, which sounds like bitching, but it's not, it's just, that's what you kind of look around at your buddies who are all experiencing the same thing. And you're like, it is what it is. I don't give a shit. This neck gaiter. See, the Japs got it wrong. This neck gaiter is what they need. I can even smoke cigarettes through here. It's like an extra filter that's healthier. See? Neck gaiter. Stops everything. I'm impervious.
Stops everything.
Stops everything. It stops herpes.
So the closest I never spent any time at 29 Palms. Quite close to there though, at Fort Irwin.
Fuck that place.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was putting my coffee down, and I just was like, fuck that place.
Yeah, so I spent a little time at the National Training Center, getting ready to go to Egypt. Yeah, that place fucking sucked. We actually, the funniest part about that whole deployment was we created a new cadence, walking cadence called California Dreamin'. And we actually turned all the leaves are brown and the skies are gray. Fucking mamas and the papas, California Dreamin'. We turned that shit into a cadence. It was badass.
And this is, were you like hua every 5 seconds everywhere you went? Do you guys run and go like hut, 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 hut?
Smart ass. Didn't Jesselyn ask us that fucking question? Dick. So the guy that put it that turned the song into a cadence was like an actual musician who now is pretty funny, is actually a sergeant major in the freaking U.S. Army.
That's awesome.
Special Forces, actually, which is badass. Like that just doesn't fucking happen.
Nice.
But yeah, dude, that unit, just to say, and I'm putting it out there for people from my old unit that listen, literally from that unit alone, like that company, I know of 5 guys right off the top of my head that are all sergeant majors.
Sergeants major.
Sergeants major. Yeah, you don't really find that. I mean, there was a lot of people together, right?
Yeah.
Just badass dudes.
You know what that means?
Oh God, what?
It means you're old. Sorry, I had to say it. I had to throw it out there. Just means you're old. It's all good. Like, hey, my buddy is, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. Really? Really?
And you're just fucking old. Okay, because that dude's been in like 30 years. So
I remember when the commandant and I wore boots, like carry the one. Yeah, you're old.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
suck. Shit's really funny, dude. I never really thought about it like that, but you're fucking right, bro. God, getting up there, man. Holy shit.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's
yeah. Holy hell.
Okay, so some of the side effects of the desert, let's just say, because I lived with, like, we called it Iraq nose.
Iraq.
Excuse me.
But that's probably from burn barrels. It's probably not from the desert.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just being the shit.
Dude,
no, I know the desert nose. We got it bad in when I was in Egypt. Because when I say we were in Egypt, and you hear bumfuck Egypt, literally that's where I lived. It wasn't. You know how like you're out in the middle of nowhere, right? Like you can say that. Like people say that. There we were, literally out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But this motherfucking place was literally out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Like I've got to post it. I found the picture of our remote site that we were on.
Yeah.
On Google Maps. So we'll have to post that shit with this episode.
Do it.
Dude, wow. I mean, all right. So the worst about this place is that you could actually see civilization, but you were nowhere near it because you were up on a fucking cliff. It's like 500 feet, 500 foot cliff. Yeah, dude. So, but to get there, you had to go literally like 45 miles out and around down a dusty dirt fucking road,
right,
where you're like dodging Bedouin camels and Bedouin goats and fucking driving into wadis and all kinds of bullshit. You know what I mean?
What I love
just to go get your fucking mail. So we were like 20. I want to say it was like 22 miles off the closest hardball road.
Yeah.
And then once you got onto the hardball to the next actual like decent base camp was like another 30 something miles. So we were fucking in the middle of nowhere. Right. And if we were calling for help, there ain't nobody fucking coming. So and there's like 9 of us out there,
and you're out there like my favorite part is you're bombing around doing whatever, and then you go over another hillside and you're like, oh look, more desert. And you just keep kind of
way more desert, right?
Just keep going out,
screaming. So driving this fucking white Nissan truck with fucking. We came across this cassette with like that fucked up Haji techno music.
Yes. Were you know
what I'm talking
gears?
About? Y'all
just
fucking
like,
know what I'm talking about. That shit was fucking crazy.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. And we'd be like fucking blasting that, rolling through the desert, screaming outside the fucking.
I very much like Cokie Bochek.
That's fucking crazy, bro.
Hell yes.
Because there's no radio stations. That's it. And who the fuck had tapes anymore?
Right.
It's not like I could be like, hey, buddy, I need you to send me some Pearl Jam fucking tapes. They're like, wait, what? Cassettes don't exist anymore.
They don't. Sure, bro. I'll just circle back to the 90s and grab you some cassettes.
Because people asked me to send that shit, said no one. So fucking.
I can picture too many guys in a pickup truck, straight faced, like terrible suspension, 45, 50 minutes into a bumpy bombing around in this white pickup, like just like, God, fuck my life. Why did it see the world?
But there's a lot of fun shit going on there too. But only because you're out of your fucking mind already.
Right.
So we would do like 23 or 26 day rotations out there.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, bro.
Oh yeah.
Could have been way worse though. Could have been way fucking worse.
Yeah.
Way worse. I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not playing a one-upsman game here at all, because there's dudes that were in Afghanistan or Iraq, especially right after, that were just sucking wind, bro. Especially the stories I hear from guys in Afghanistan, like within like the first few months, where they had like fire bases were like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just fucking horrible.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not complaining at all. I'm just saying that shit was crazy.
Well, and that's like, I remember I bumped into a guy in Quantico, and he was talking about the march up, and he was saying how he was just living fighting position to fighting position to fighting position. And I was like, yeah, I know, that shit sucks, man. And we were bullshitting, swapping sea stories, and he was like, wait a minute, you're a 3-7? He's like, 7 Marines. He's like, that's in 29 Palms though, right? And he's like, yeah, no, you guys had it worse. I'm like, what? This is bullshit. Like, okay, home units in 29 Palms don't have it as bad as the initial invasion. I'll tell you that much right now. But in this guy's opinion, he's like, no, I would much rather do the initial invasion again than go and be a home unit Marine in 29 Palms. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. That's awesome. All right, cool. Which out there is totally different because it's MSRs all over the place. There's no hardball, obviously, but man, you're out in the middle. It just,
dude. So I just pulled up the area. Like, all right. So I type in
Egypt.
Type in, if you go to Google, it's funny. So you type in Sinai Peninsula. Okay. And when they do it, like usually you type something in and like it zooms in on something and there's something to show, right?
Yeah.
This fucking thing, I thought it was broken. I'm like, what? Wait, why isn't it? No, it's just tan because there's nothing there. So the whole screen is tan.
It's just dope.
Because there's nothing there. So if you zoom out, then you're like, oh, well, there's all the shit. It's just fucking, that place is literally just desert. The only things that there are down on the on the coast, obviously, the Gulf of Aqaba, you've got a bunch of like resort stuff, but it's like a bunch of like Egyptian entrepreneurs have built, fucking places for Europeans to come tour to, spend a holiday on. Right.
Yeah.
So like Sharm el Sheikh or Nama Bay are freaking, they're pretty cool. They've got huge hotels there and all that shit. But then the only thing on the interior, there's one highway that runs across it, St. Catherine's Cathedral, which I think I've shown you, which is Mount Sinai. That's the stronghold that sits at the bottom of Mount Sinai. And then literally there's nothing until you hit the Med. From so where it comes down is right where the Gulf of Aqaba and the Gulf of Suez come together at the end of the Red Sea. And then literally that is some motherfucking desert.
That is some desolate ass shit right there.
Like it is, man. There's like one highway that runs through. Otherwise they're in shit.
Yeah.
And they fought over this fucking place. That's the funniest thing.
Generations.
Like they had to give it, Israel was like, all right, well, we're just going to march our asses right across this fucking thing to Cairo. And then they had to give it back. They were probably like, fuck yeah, take it, have it.
Yeah. Desolate ass shit.
Oh, it's desolate ass shit, bro.
Oh my God.
There ain't a whole lot there. But there are some, and I'm going to be honest, there's some badass resorts I've never been to the western side of it, but the east side, dude, there's some badass resorts. Like those badass resorts that have just imagine like a tiki hut, like a bamboo hut out into the water with like a glass floor and shit. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like badass stuff like that.
See, I ain't get down on that, man.
But then, we're in Taba, was where our other remote site was, which is right on the Israeli border. And there is a Hilton hotel there. And the one, this was like the luxury, resort fucking outpost that we got put on for a few times. Right. And the problem is that like right after we left, that fucking place got suicide bombed.
Oh
yeah. The Taba did, the hotel, the Hilton there.
Damn.
Blew that fucker up, man. Like I pulled up with a truck out front and just boom. So I bet the guys that had taken our place were shitting their fucking pants.
God damn. You always hear that shit too. Anytime you rip out, you're like, yeah, that last unit just got a VPID. Like, what?
Like,
we were just there.
So I guaranteed they had to send somebody out. You know what I mean? Because that was kind of the thing. We had a Hungarian MP detachment there as well. So it was weird. That whole fucking deployment was just strange, bro. But anyway, it's a great deployment until 9/11.
Right. Everything was fine and dandy until that 9/11 shit happened.
Those motherfucking 9/11 bastards wanted to run into shit. Motherfuckers. And that, anyway, but that's another story for another day. I think we've already told it.
You were out in that. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of reverberation here. I can hear me talk. That's a little squat boxy. I like it. You were out in the middle of like the open like white sand desert. See, that's like Kuwait. Kind of reminds me of Iraq.
It's not like that actually. This is straight up rocks, bro. It's not sandy.
Like Indiana Jones shit. Okay.
It's like just fucking rock. I mean, it is. It's like Indiana Jones shit. I mean, because it's mountains. There's mountainous. There's foothills. There's wadis everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, man, it's hard terrain. Like I could see what a badass fucking terrain to fight in. Like if you're like the people holding ground, you could fuck some dudes up bad. Like because there's no easy way to get around there.
Right.
It's like Hannibal's dream. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like he would just pull Romans down this freaking chute and just like wholesale slaughter, you know?
Yeah.
That type of shit was crazy.
That's a lot like, well, see, that's different though. I was going to say it's similar to Afghanistan in some regards in some different areas, but Afghanistan was different in the sense that you had these little veins of vegetation and cornfields and tree lines.
That's the way this place would be if there was actually water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, what you're describing straight up just reminds me of Twin Palms.
Right. It's bad.
I've often joked that if you've ever taken a ball peen hammer or a jackhammer or something like that and you busted apart a piece of concrete, flipped it upside down, and seen all of the craggles and pebbles and the texture of it, that is what the mountains resemble out in the Mojave Desert in those areas. And then
I don't know about 29 Palms, but I can tell you if it's anything like Fort Irwin, that's exactly what it is.
Yes. Well, Fort Irwin and 29 Palms are just on the other side of, they share a mountain range essentially.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows anything about Humvees knows that they don't have keys, they don't take blinker fluid, and they don't go in miles. And you have to get hours to qualify, and we would drive back and forth in between 29 Palms and Fort Irwin, which is all desert.
Fucking hell.
The route is permanently ingrained in my head because you go out 29 and then you took You either went all the way out to like 62 or whatever it is right there, 60, 62, but went into Yucca Valley, and then we would take Old Woman Springs all the way out and across until we hit the highway, only we would stop short of the highway and take basically unapproved roads up to Fort Irwin, do a U-eye in Fort Irwin, turn around, and then just start driving all the way back. We didn't even stop for chow. You know, like in Fort Irwin. Yeah. It was just like, what the fuck? Why are we? This sucks.
What the fuck are we doing here?
But that was, whatever. Yay. And then I got a Humvee license. Certified. Hey. Anybody who knows anything about Humvees also knows that Humvee licenses are pretty much bullshit. Everything is cover your ass, or like check in the box type shit. You don't really, they do the tutorial. The first 15 minutes, you learn a whole lot. And then the driving part after that is just sheer boredom. But I will tell you one thing. In between deployments, they gave us new up armors. I shouldn't say they gave us. They said drivers from the last tour and gunners, assemble on the UMA, and you guys are doing some shit where you're going out and testing the new Humvees. Like, oh, okay, whatever. So we go out there in a 7-ton. It was colder than shit for being, the desert and everything. So we buttoned up all of the hatch, and we were basically in this like lunar capsule, out in the desert. You know how it is. Right. You're freezing ass cold, and your truck is the only thing that's keeping you warm. And even that, the heater in a Humvee sucks balls. And all we did all day long was take these Humvees out and just put them through their paces. We just bomb corners and jump shit, and the gunners almost flew out the top of the thing. Then we were like, okay, we'll just keep everybody inside, but oh wait, we have 5 people in a vehicle. How the fuck are we going to do this? It was fun as hell. And it was one of those times where it was just like everybody was from the same generation. And I think that there were only probably 2 what you would consider senior Marines. And that was the guys from the motor pool section who were like, beat these up. Well, like, excuse me? Do you want to rephrase that? Break these Humvees. Okay. Wow. This is happening. This is really happening, guys. We're doing this. And it's like, we did. Like, we put one on its side, another one got rolled, another one got just broken, just shit broke, and all of the fluid dumped out of it. We're like, yeah, that's some shit right there. Stone almost got ejected. I think it was him. He almost got ejected entirely out of the vehicle, and we reached up from the dismount seat and grabbed him by his boots. Like, wow. All but his boots had made it out of the Humvee, and we pulled his ass back down into the hatch, and he's like doing that whole like, bro, I almost died. Like, oh man, that was some shit. Oh man. Oh, next time just let me go, bro. Just let me go. Like, what? Oh my God, dude. Anyway, we were having a good time. And that was one of those times where you're like, all right, I don't really mind living out in the middle of the desert. Oh, dude, one time we were coming back from the field and I just started like, oh my God, it's stuck in there. And my buddy Kuhn was driving. I was I was vehicle commander at the time. I'm using air quotes. I was the guy riding shotgun. And I'm just like, oh, it's stuck in my throat, dude. He's like, get it out of here. Get it out of here. Just like an asshole. Christ. I'm like, right. The windows are zipped up and rolled down. Or excuse me, they're unzipped and rolled down. I'm just kind of like hanging out. I'm like, like that kind of a job. This That's alien horrible. Life form that was about the size of my fist. Like, sticks on, and you know how it's got that film on the inside of a Humvee window? It's not like real glass. It's got that texture to it.
Yeah.
There was no getting this off. You couldn't use a putty knife to get this thing off the window. Like, I had to get Goo Gone out of the motor pool in order to get this gigantic, heinous desert loogie that I had accumulated from way too many nights of sleeping out in the field, just like, dude, it was so bad. And it was funny because when it hit the windshield, both of us were like,
That's horrible.
Oh, dude, we were headed down that main MSR. It's like, the range road that heads out towards Camp Wilson and 29 Palms, only we were headed back from Camp Wilson into Mainside. The sun's setting and all of this other shit. All the guys in the back are like, what happened? My buddy pulls open the flap. He's like, oh! Yeah, dude. Side effects of living in the desert. It's that. And you get sand everywhere.
Bro, everywhere.
Dude, I honestly didn't think that you could get sand everywhere. I'm like, no, there are cracks and crevices where I don't know, I was wrong.
Just all bad.
It's in there. Just, you're humping the next day, you're walking, you're like, I'm chafing real bad, boys. I'm hurting real bad. I'm chafing. What's going on? Oh, that's going to leave. That's going to be something permanent. That's going to be some scar tissue in there.
Scar tissue. Yeah, man. For real.
There's some sand. And it's not like you get a pearl out of it. It's just, that's when I switched. See, that's when I started going a hell of a lot more commando.
Yeah.
Because you put some powder down on the boys and it kind of...
Yeah, you can...
The sand goes away.
Just a little tip, folks. So if you ever go to the beach and you are just, you get there, you got sand stuck all over your ass, right? Or anywhere, wherever. Baby powder works wonders. You just throw some of that shit on there and it comes right off.
Yeah.
Sand and baby powder. Except for baby powder, gives you fucking cancer. So,
but I'm gonna warn you though. Okay, Gold Bond, fine, use Gold Bond, but there's a balance.
That tingles quite a bit.
Come on, everybody loves. We're not talking about putting icy hot on them. It's Gold Bond.
Just don't use medicated Gold Bond.
Right, you got to go with the original.
Yeah.
Can't use any of the minty fresh stuff. That's a veteran move. See, I would use minty fresh. I don't want to go there. All right, but yeah, man, because the other thing too is that in the Middle East they have this dust, right? It's been churned for millennia. We call it moon dust, and you can step into it and you go shin deep into this dust that's just kicking up, and it somehow never lands.
It's like ash.
Yeah, well, it's like it's as fine as powdered sugar.
Right, exactly. It's crazy,
but it doesn't. Yeah.
I've never experienced that.
Oh, it's
never. But I've seen it plenty.
It settles into, just a quick side note, because it's one of the most strange desert phenomena, at least the way that I view it. It's like there's these pits or low areas that naturally occur, whether that's because the wind goes through it or trucks have been driving through it or whatever it is. And moon dust has a tendency to settle in those areas. And it's like it's drawn into those lower areas. So the sand wants to just stay on the ground, but the moon dust wants to find lower area. It's fucking weird. Anybody who has ever walked through the middle of one of those pits knows exactly what I'm talking about, because you'll be walking along and it looks like the dust continues off and it's just further sand. I don't know how to explain it. It looks like more flat ground, and then as you start walking through it, it's like lighter than air. It's fucking weird, man. It's just weird.
It's just pulverized fucking sand, bro.
Yeah. Well, and even when you pour water all over it, because that's one of the things that we would have to do. Let's say, for instance, if you didn't want to stir up dust when you're in a hide.
Yeah, you gotta spray water on it.
Exactly. So I would take my Nalgene bottle out and I would try to pour it all over moon dust and stuff. And you can rub it around and make mud. But at first, the water kind of beads up,
right,
in the moon dust. And then you got to mix it around. It's weird. Yeah. Ugh. That shit gets everywhere. It gets
everywhere.
In your hair, in your nose. You know, I mean, I was thinking about it when we were out in the desert and stuff. I'm just like, dude, I wouldn't want a beard out here. I wouldn't want to be covered in dust with a beard.
Fucking
no.
dust.
I feel bad for those guys. Like, no. I want none of that. I want to be alopecia smooth so that all that shit just comes right off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know? Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, thinking about it makes me want to take a shower. It's just like...
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had good times in the desert, don't get me wrong, but it's like the cuffs where you unbutton your blouse cuffs and there's black dust and like stuck in where your flight gloves were and shit like that, all up in your wrists and stuff.
Yeah, right.
It gets in the collar, up where your sunburn is, up and around. You know what I'm talking about? And it just scratches even worse. It's like sandpaper on your sunburn.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember taking my cover off. It would be covered in dust, my 8-point. And that, you know how you get a tan line where it's like a 45-degree angle on the temple and then it goes around the back of your dome piece?
Yeah, man.
And all of that sweat has accumulated. Oh my God, dude. Existence.
Horrible.
Just walking around,
man.
tasting it.
Bro.
Not doing that anymore.
Could you imagine like back in the day, like way back in the day, like Crusader days, dealing with that shit with like armor on?
No. Fuck that.
Bro, fuck.
No.
So what makes me think about that is that there's this island that we used to have to drive by when we were on the coastal highway in Sinai.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Pharaoh's Island. And there's a fortress out on it that was built by the Crusaders in like freaking, you know, like 1116 or some shit, you know, like way the fuck back there. Right. And then down after the Crusaders got defeated in that area, because it was part of they had it to protect pilgrims moving between Damascus and Cairo, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then Saladin fucking defeated the people there, and he had people out there that was like, dude, just controlling shipping and everything is crazy. So it's like we're sitting here looking at that like history. I can only imagine back in the fucking day how bad that would suck.
Trampling around.
Whew. Horses kicking that shit up.
No. I'll take a plate carrier over chainmail any day. No, thank you.
Fucking A,
no,
bro.
Thank you. Hydrate or die.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Nope. That's when you know you're a boot. You know?
Yeah. That's when you know you're a badass. Holy shit.
We're out there swinging broadswords back in my day, you boot motherfucker.
Back in my day, killing motherfuckers with fucking bows and swords. That was a great story in our last episode, but anyway.
Oh my God.
Let's not go down that road again.
And then and then when it's done and it's all over, you come home and you shower and all of that filth washes right off. It's exfoliating.
Yeah, and fucking clogs the fucking drain, bro.
Dude, my old lady would be like, she used to make me just start naked out in the garage.
Yeah. No,
she's like, you got a green funk on you that is just heinous.
So
like,
now, just because I didn't spend a lot of time in the desert doesn't mean I don't know sand. Right. I know plenty about sand, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
Holy fuck. So sand and salt water, plenty of experience there. So we would come in from that shit, and you would have sand everywhere, and we literally would just strip down outside, and we had these racks that we'd hang our gear up on, and we'd just get fucking naked, basically, hosing everything off, and then we'd go right into the shower room. Yeah. So we didn't contaminate the fucking squad base. It's basically how we rolled. It was badass. It was a hell of a system.
Yeah. No, I
gotta have that system at home there, gents.
Sometimes what I would do, knowing that I was coming out of the field and it was gonna be super crazy fucking heinous, and there's no other way to put it. Just
like you've been out there like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and you're just like fucking
or months.
Fuck.
You know, in 29 Palms, we go out to the field for a month at a time. I mean, that wasn't
Yeah.
Any
I
stretch
get
of
you.
the imagination.
Sure.
And sometimes what I would do is I would just have a flight suit in the back of my car, and I would just change into my flight suit. I'd just drop right down to Silky's, change into my flight suit for the car ride home. And then I would hop in the shower when I got home, right? So this one time, my buddy, this is Coon and I, we come out of the field, and he and I lived out in Casa del Sol at the time, which is out 2 Mile Road. And
Casa del Sol, what the fuck?
Dude, it was base housing off base, and PMO was out
it's
there
crazy.
and everything. Yeah. So we pulled into the UMA and took all of our shit out of the back of the high backs and put it in my car, and then took the high backs down and all the wash rack and motor T and blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, we're fucking leaving at 01, 02, driving home. We're going to sleep for maybe 4 hours and then come back to work, right?
Right.
So we're driving back. We have Pink Floyd, like Wish You Were Here, jamming on the radio in my 1993 Buick LeSabre. Just
the LeSabre, baby.
the LeSabre. And
We've told many a story about the LeSabre.
Just so exhausted. Oh, yeah. And I was going 85, 90 miles an hour. Like, straight out of base, I put the pedal down and was not going to lay off the pedal until I got to 2 Mile Road. I was hauling ass. And a cop, woo, pulls me over. And Coon's like, you done it now? I'm like, Turn my radio off. Roll the window down. Cop comes up to the window, leans in. License and register. Did you just
get some of that nut cheese, bitch?
Did you just get out of the field? Like, I could smell my balls. I could smell my balls.
Of course.
As this guy was talking to me.
Of course. You could.
Like, every breath was a struggle for this poor
back of the car and starts dry heaving.
Did you guys just get out of the field? Yes, sir. Okay. You're going to need to slow it down and take a fucking shower.
Well, that's where I'm trying to go.
And literally, that's what I said. That's why I'm driving so fast. And he's like, yeah, just go. Don't even stop. I can't
smell myself. That's why I'm driving so fast. The question is, though, why'd you have the windows down? Something?
What do you mean?
Why didn't you have the windows down?
Oh, we did.
Could have been.
Oh, we did.
Out, man.
We totally did. We had the front 2 windows down. The rear windows couldn't be down because all of our gear would have spilled out. But yeah, we had the front 2 windows down. Oh yeah, no, we were actively airing out the situation. However, you're constantly churning more funk with every stride. I mean, it was so hot out still at 02 that, like, I was actively sweating as the guy came up to the window. But when he came up, he could not get the word, like, license and bridge. Like, he kept trying to, like, defeat it, like, kind of defend his way back.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure he wanted to draw on the smell itself, just like, get out of me. Like, you could tell he was struggling big time. Did you guys just get out of the field? Yeah. Just
get the fuck out of here, please.
Just honestly, at that moment, I did not give a fuck. I was like, I didn't have the energy to be belligerent. I was just sitting there like, if he's going to give me a ticket, he's going to give me a ticket. I don't give a shit. It's just an extra 20 minutes of my life. And then I'm going to go hop into the fucking shower. And I'm going to go to sleep. And then I'm going to wake up. And then I'm going to go back out. And then I got to clean that fucking truck all over again. But then I got to tell first sergeant I got a fucking ticket. And this motherfucker. And then he comes walking up to the window. License. You guys are good. You're out of here.
Good. Go home.
Dude, he got halfway back to his car and I cranked Pink Floyd back up, threw that bitch in drive and made tracks. I was like, out of that motherfucker, gone. All right. Yeah. Coon just looks at me and is like, yep.
That just happened.
You're so tired you don't even want to drop your buddy off at his house. You're like, this sucks. Why did we carpool? You live 20 feet away, but this sucks. And then you wake up, draw the shades, and you live in the fucking desert. You live in the desert in Casa del Sol with a security door on. Fuck. Yep. I wonder if Costa del Sol still exists out there. You guys should leave comments in the section below. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, especially if you live in Costa del Sol. You got a whole lot to do out there. I know. I just live there. Shit sucks. Good Lord. Yeah, man.
It's probably it's like the equivalent of Tarawa Terrace on Lejeune.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is one of the housing places there. There's Tarawa Terrace 2. There was a place called Midway, I want to say.
This is This is a big walled compound with two halves where you basically enter in and it wides off to the two halves, and they're all quadruplexes with carports.
Quadruplexes. Base housing, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love it.
Base housing for like E4 and below.
Oh, yeah. So the real good stuff. I'm just kidding.
It's a prison.
Yeah, it's like a prison.
Yeah. With conjugal visits.
Let us know. I want to know if Costa del Sol is still fucking alive.
There you go.
So you better write us. Let us know.
Share your desert stories. All of your desert woes. How did you compete and battle against the desert? I picked up a lot of tips and tricks along the way of how to actually not just live and survive in the desert, but like how to make a field op not suck, you know? I definitely, it did not suck going out to the field by the time I was, done operating, but it definitely took a little bit of experience. Oh man, I did some stupid shit in the field. I'm sure that we all have. So yeah. Well, there you go. Subscribe, rate, review the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, anywhere that you enjoy listening to podcasts. Share, please, with everybody that you know, including your grandmother. I actually played an episode for my grandmother one time, and it was awesome how shocked she was. So it was fantastic. I just gotta say.
Right.
It was really good. My grandmother has a kick-ass sense of humor, though. My grandfather, by the way, he was like, well, Mike, you're doing all these things. That's how he talks. You're doing all these things, and you're up there, you're on stage. Are they going to make you shave your beard? I'm like, no. And he's like, whoa, wow. And I'm like, well, I'm that guy. Grandpa. Well, and he worked for years for Bell Telephone, and he's always that clean shaven, like 50s grandfather kind of a thing. Like
Madman.
Oh, exactly. Just, yep. My grandfather's like, are they going to make you shave your beard? I started laughing. Me and my Jim.
Only hippies have those damn beards.
Oh, God. Yep. Good times.
They call them hipsters now, Grandpa.
Yeah, there you go. Oh. Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. Thank you to our sponsors, Heroes Media Group, Spartan Media. Thank you to LifeFlip Media for helping us out in regard to the PR and the social media that's out there. Have I said media enough? And thank you to all of you who are awesome as far as audience members go. We look at this as a multi-faced Cigars and Sea Stories platform, and we definitely encourage all of you to join the conversation. So if you're not already checking us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, we're all on there at Cigars and Sea. You can follow us on pretty much any social media at Cigars and Sea, and we'd love to have you as our listener everywhere. So yeah, pretty much anywhere. We're on Instagram a lot and doing all sorts of stuff. And yeah, we look forward to seeing your comments and hope that you share. Bennett, you got anything else for these wonderful people?
Costa del Sol. and moon dust rocks, baby.
And on that note, we cue the music.
Setting sun.